there's such a stigma with men that we have to be this like man is like macho, void of emotion. We can get through anything. We're tough. We're a calloused heart. We can just get through this, and that needs to stop.
I would just say, first of all, that I'm extremely grateful and appreciative of all of you who have followed.
I want you to watch this, man. Like, he's talking to you guys right now, and he's gonna talk to me. We're gonna listen together. Everybody loves that comeback story, and I love comeback stories like this. These are the comeback stories that motivate me and get me up in the morning. Because again, like, this is a ripple effect. There are millions of people going to see this. They're going to hear this. That's going to touch their heart. It's going to change their lives. And from one influencer or YouTuber to the next, and to the subs, and to the fans, and whatever it is, we're in this together. What is up? Is your boy Johnny Shrevive, BB Promos to Tell Like It Is. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Uncut. Today we're going to jump into what I think is Calum's best video to date, and it is Let Me Explain. And everybody knows he's back. Question is, do we accept him back? Do we believe that this is the rise of Calum again to his final form, or to the form where he's trying to go? And before I even get started, I'm going to say yes. I say we give him as many chances as we possibly can. As we give that to anybody. Sometimes, and even I've been guilty of this. Yeah, right. Do we really believe it? I've done it sometimes, and it's happened to me myself as well. And thinking that, is Johnny really going to change this time? And when you finally do make it yourself, it's something that you want people to be on your side and encourage you to do. If there's anyone in your life right now that is always going back and back, and I know that there's some times where you need to step back, but when somebody says, hey, I'm going to try again, and they're making a valiant effort to change your life around, we got to give it to them. We got to encourage them. You know what I mean? So let's just dive in this right away, and let's dissect this together and see what we can learn. But I think this is an unbelievable video that he's done, and let's get into it.
I've had plenty of setbacks, but and yeah, it's like it feels terrible, to let people, family or friends down and stuff. It's not easy to let those things, to just go by and not think about it. I think it was like something that I regret the most. It was like realizing that, I wasn't doing that well. I was going through a lot, and I was always had this like mindset where I was like, I can handle it. But without even you probably didn't even know, but I was going through like depression, and I had I think two of the biggest obstacles I faced this year was, depression and anxiety. And they're two things that I'd always had a grip on, and never ever wanted to let it affect me or show other people that I wasn't doing okay. So I bottled up so much of my emotions and these problems.
So let's just get in this right now. I really want to respond to this right away. And this is, I think it's very important that we become more vulnerable when it comes to our mental health. And I think everybody, I don't care who you are, men, women, whatever. But in this case, this is a really, really good video for men and young men to see this. I'm 40 this year, and I grew up in a time as well too where, passed down to me, it's like tough love. You know what I mean? I've seen my father cry once. And it was one of those like manly cries where there's, tear coming down his eye, and he's kind of doing when he's trying to hide it. And I remember walking to my grandfather's grave, and he kind of did one of these things, and that was it. And there's such a stigma with men that we have to be this like man is like macho, void of emotion. We can get through anything. We're tough. We're a calloused heart. We can just get through this, and that needs to stop. You know what I mean? And we do need way more, role models for men that are vulnerable and open about how they're feeling and sharing and expressing how they feel, because this whole like macho thing, we know now, doesn't work. It doesn't make you better. It makes you honestly weaker. And I think that strength comes from those who are vulnerable, who can actually share their emotions. And that's why I think this is one of the best videos that he's ever done, because this is a video that is going to be shown to a lot of people. Like, there's 400,000 people right now have seen this video. That's what I like on. This is what I want for my channel. I'm being straight up honest with you right now. I want the views, and I want the following and subscribers. So then when I say something that means something, it's touches a lot of people. I want to have that influence and power to be able to speak and help people get through their own issues, or to have courage or empower people, men, young men, women, just to be open about them, about their problems. In hindsight, we've seen here what that does. And then we're going to look, and he's going to talk about it more on what that actually does to your life. Don't hold it in, talk now, speak out about how you feel. I had this thing, SOL called Suffer Out Loud. It was a little podcast I had a long way back, probably 2 years ago. I should probably get to do that. But either way, suffer out loud. Don't suffer in silence. So let's keep going.
Yeah, and that was my biggest regret. It was probably not speaking up about it earlier, or maybe seeking some help about it and talking to someone. And unfortunately, I went down on a different path, the wrong path, which was, obviously it was really detrimental to my health and my physical, mental well-being, internal things which I didn't want to, display or show any weakness. So I unfortunately, I started trying to numb myself and suppress it with going out or drinking or partying and stuff. And
one thing I want to say, and if there's anybody watching, I know there's some people watching. I've talked to some people actually who've been open to me in the comment section and in my DMs about their mental health, and I applaud you. And one of the biggest things that can help us get through some of the things in our life is really just fixing the way we speak about our life, or changing the verbiage. There's no right or wrong path. There's an optimal or suboptimal path. There's optimal choices and there's suboptimal choices. Because in that moment, we do what we think is necessary. No one wakes up. I remember a guy actually telling me this, and he used to say, no one wakes up, in the morning planning to blow it or hurt somebody, or that doesn't happen. Maybe in some people, for the most part, no one wakes up and hey, I want to hurt somebody today. I want to hurt myself, or I want to sabotage my. No, it's we use the tools that we have at the time and we apply them within the situation at that time. And at that time, right or wrong, it makes the most sense. And for Calum, going out and drinking and partying and numbing himself makes sense. Because we don't have those tools, we don't have those coping, those positive, optimal coping mechanisms. That's what you go to. And I'm not saying it's not wrong. I'm not saying it's not right or wrong. I'm saying at that moment in time, you just don't know. And, fortunately for Calum, he's here. We all know, for some of you guys don't know the story, I'd say go back and check some of the stuff out. But the amount of shit he's went through and he's able to say this story right now is absolutely amazing. Because let's be serious, he shouldn't be here. He should be locked up 100%. Honestly, he probably could have in another timeline been locked up or paralyzed. You know what I mean? In a coma still. He woke up from a coma. You know what I mean? So it's in that moment, we just don't know the best option at that time, but what we think is the best option. So these are more reasons of why you need to talk and to speak out to somebody. Go see a therapist 100%, but go talk to a good friend, who you can confide in, that would give you some proper advice, or just at least have an ear, because someone could say hey, maybe that isn't the best thing to do. Maybe in the time, Calum, there wasn't anybody there in Calum's life that saying, no, or maybe there was, and he's just not hearing it at that time. And that happens all the time. Trust me, it happened to me. So I can resonate a lot with this.
And I didn't even see that I was kind of drifting down this wrong path, right? And started spiraling, and then it got to a point where I just wasn't, in control. I lost control of it all.
It's like a bad spiral.
Yeah. I picked up some bad habits, and and that resulted in me, accidentally hurting myself. And I was never I never intended to be hospitalised or have break my back and and mess up my arm and stuff. And that was the biggest wake up call for me. It was when I woke up out of a coma, 6 days, and I'm just going what the heck happened to me? What's going on? Well,
I couldn't imagine that. I've overdosed before, woke up in a hospital, and I was fine, but I get that feeling, but coming out of a coma and then knowing the repercussions of all those things, that he is blessed. From my opinion, and you want my complete, honest, vulnerable, transparent opinion, God has got a massive plan for this guy right now. In the same way, it's he's not gonna get too many chances after this. I completely believe that. This is hey, this is it for you, Calum. And I'm not trying to condemn him, but I know him. He knows himself. Because you wake out of something like that, you are in your head this is wow. You're whoa. There is some enlightenment there that you're holy. So I know for sure in his heart he knows I am blessed. He was very at the beginning or at the end or the climax to everything that's going on in his life. He was very open about his his spirituality and his religion and whatnot. He was really he's speaking a lot of, he's dropping a lot of scriptures and stuff on his Instagram. I know he's tapped in and he's aware. And when you're aware, it's then that, you're not going to get another chance. Because I honestly believe that God has, whether we believe in God or not, I believe that God, he knows our heart and he knows our intentions. And he knows we don't get up every morning trying to blow it. He's given us free will for a reason. I don't believe God is a puppeteer. I don't believe God puts things on our, and I don't think God puts negative things in your life to learn a lesson. I do not believe that at all. I think that is a lie that religions want to say and say, like, God intended for that to happen. That car accident that person got in, God, that was God's. No. God is not a God that, I'm going to set up something bad in your life so you can figure it out. No, God has given us free will, but he also knows our heart. If he sees Calum and he's sitting there like, Calum, like rooting for him, like I got all these plans for you, bro. Like I'm rooting for you, man. Just keep going, like and then he blows it and he's like, man, like, okay, I'm here for you, buddy. Like, and he knows, like, in those moments of time, we don't know what Calum's heart was like in those times. He could have been crying out to God and praying, for salvation or victory or whatever it is. We don't know, and I'm gonna assume that's it because he's here right now, and he's here for a bigger purpose now. What he does with this chance is completely up to him. But again, when it comes down to it, things snowball. You don't really see, what you're doing in that time until you wake up from a coma, and you got to give your head a shake and really, look out. So, don't think that God puts things in your life on purpose for you to learn. Understand that if you went through something, it was you that went through it, and you probably could have prevented it, but at the time, whatever. But if you made it through and you're conscious of that, now is your time to make the big change. You know what I mean? Let's keep going.
What have I done to myself? That was just like, and I was just so ashamed and angry at myself, and had to really look into, what was going on and reassess my life. And, and I apologize. I've got to apologize to, all the fans and stuff and the friends, and just not being, just disappearing and stuff. But at the same token, I had to just take a big step back from social life. And
I have to touch on that. And he says something very clear there. And he says, I gotta apologize to the fans. And some people might be like, don't worry about the fans, man. Worry about you, man. Just worry about you, brother. And it's like, I get that, but when we go on a platform, and it's for me, and I learned this when I was playing football, and our coach will always say, you have there's a microscope on you. Wherever you go in this city, you represent, not just you anymore. You represent the school, the team, whatever. And it's the same for us. When we start this, and, I started this channel with 0, and it's now at almost, 500,000. And this guy's almost at 1 million. And there is a responsibility that we have to, uphold integrity. Because there's eyes on us. It's not like we're sitting, in the comfort of our house, but there's eyes on us. We've put ourselves out there for people to watch and to follow and to look up to and to be to be inspired by. And and I see it when I go to expos and I see the effects that I have on people. So when it comes to my personal life and how I am and how I project myself, I do understand why he's saying I have to say sorry to the subscribers, to his fans. Because there's fans out there who at that point are like, yo, Calum's blowing it, I'm gonna blow it too. You know what I'm saying? So I get that, and that's a lot to, to apologize to the rest of the people like that. That's a different apology than some people apologies we've seen. But this is a sincere apology, and I'm totally for him apologizing to the fans because I owe it to you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, I don't have a channel. I can't do what I love, and I have nothing to, I have no content to create. There's no content for me to create. There's no purpose for me to create any content if you aren't here. So you guys give me your time. I have to give my ultimate best, the best I can as a human. I'm going to make mistakes. And that's the one thing we have to understand too. It's a lot of us will shame ourselves. And I get it, right? I've done the same thing. We can't shame ourselves, but we have to be in a place where, we are human. And we get put up, like, I won't say we, like, I don't think I'm there yet or whatever. But like, sometimes we put people on such a high pedestal that we think that they're not human, that they don't go through the same things that you guys go through. And I think, for me, it's my job to say, yes, I do. Like 100%, I am just like you. I go through the same shit. I bleed the same blood, man. I put my pants on one foot at a time. Sometimes if I'm athletic, I can maybe jump through it. I don't know. Either way, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to understand that, let you guys know first that I make mistakes, and my job is to minimize the mistakes that I make by learning from my past, but then showing you guys the best way to, approach certain issues in your life through my personal experience.
And that's when I realized, my family actually were really, really supportive. They came in, and it was my mum that it was like recommend, hey, would you consider, going to like a rehabilitation or recovery center to get the, to get the help that you need to recover and stuff. And I was like, yeah. So, I went through that at the middle of this year. That was really good. I highly recommend anyone who's struggling with like, who's struggling with any kind of, mental health problems, or or has any like problems with drugs or alcohol. Definitely, if you're in a bad way, or you feel like there's nothing out, like go seek help, go to a recovery center, talk to those people, because after I come out of that, I was completely brand new again, like fresh mind and focused.
So like that is the best advice you'll ever get. Like, get help. And the thing about Calum is, and the biggest takeaway from this is, no one's going to save you. No one is. Like, you can have all the support in the world, and he has all the support in the world. I have a praying mom at home, Reverend Mom. Her praying and her faith has been one of the biggest reasons that kept me from really veering off. I would always find myself coming back to God, prodigal son type thing. And you are the one that's going to save your life. You are. No one else is going to do it. No one else. So like, if you're waiting for something to fix you, if you're waiting for, I don't know, some miracle to happen, don't, because it's not going to come. You are going to be the one that has to make the steps and the actions to want to change your life. Again, when it comes to second chance or any chances at that, God knows your heart, period. Like, so if you want to fix yourself, you have to make that choice. And it might be a hard choice. Not all choice. Like some of the biggest choices in your life are going to be the hardest ones. There's this saying that I heard from my cousin actually, and he's like, the pains of change is painful. Like, change is painful, but nowhere near as painful as staying the same. I want you guys to listen to that. The pain of changing is painful. Change is painful. It's hard for some people, but it's nowhere near as hard as staying the same. So watching this, we got to understand, like, yo, you're not like, I care, but I got to tell you, right, no one really truly does care about you as much as you need to care about you. And you need to make that change. So if you're in a place, if you're in a place right now where it's hard for you, and you're still running around chasing the tail, and you're just still making the same mistakes, and you've tried get help. Go get help. Just like some of you guys are here looking for, like, hey, I want to learn how to train optimally, and you go search up whoever, me or whoever it is. You've made that step to wanting to better your life in terms of you training, creating a better physique, and all the great stuff. It's the same thing for you. It's the same thing for everything else. And more importantly, for your brain. If you have it in you to want to change what you look like on the outside, it needs to be just as important, even more important, to make the right changes, to make the biggest change on the inside.
I would just say, first of all, that I'm extremely grateful and appreciative of all of you who have followed.
I want you to watch this, man, like, because he's talking to you guys right now, and he's going to talk to me. We're going to listen together.
Some of you have been, behind me since day one for several years, and I want to express my gratitude to each of you who have reached out, and in times where I wasn't doing so well, and I was struggling, and I apologize for my absence, and there are a lot of people would reach out and they say, I know you probably never see this message, or you won't get back to me, whatever, but I want to leave you this note with you, or this message to you. And I logged in and I saw a few of your messages, and that really does warm my heart. It does really encourage me. So thank you so much. I apologize again for not being there in my absence, and also I would like to apologize that for some of, like, just for the last year, that I wasn't really myself, that I was, and I must say that I was going through a lot at the time when I had my accidents and incidences, look, mental health is a real thing, and I want to let you know, if anyone else is out there that is going through stuff right now, that maybe you're struggling, or you're not, you've lost someone, or someone in your family is sick, or whatever, you're dealing with something. I want to let you know that you're not alone, and that, you know, I've been through that sort of situations before, and that you can always reach out and seek for help and talk to someone. That's what I needed to do. So again, thank you so much for all your love and your support, and I appreciate you know, you guys being behind me on this journey, and I look forward to reconnecting with you all in this new year. God bless, and yeah, see you in 2023.
So coming back to my beginning statement, 100%, we gave him a second chance. That was complete and utterly sincere, and it touched me. And you know, it just, you know, for me, like, you know, it's crazy because even through his, you know, his trials and tribulations, he's inspiring me more to be open about my mental health and to not just, you know, keep it in. And I don't anymore at all. Like I'm very open about it. And it just, you know, it hammers it down even more that, you know, this needs to be more. There needs to be more content like this. You know, maybe every 5 videos we talk about our mental health and we just, you know, open up and share and get in the comment section below and just sit there and like, yo, who's struggling here? You know, like, let's talk. Let's not keep this thing quiet. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's try to help each other out. Let's try and, you know, encourage each other to get the help we need and be there for each other. And, you know, like I said, I think this is the best video that he's done. I believe that this is going to be the Calum and Moger that we've all been waiting and waiting for. And I'm really excited to see what he's going to do, because again, like, everybody loves that comeback story. And I love comeback stories like this. These are the comeback stories that, you know, motivate me and get me up in the morning. Because again, like, this is a ripple effect. You know, there are millions of people going to see this. They're going to hear this. That's going to touch their heart. And it's going to change their lives. And from one influencer or YouTuber to the next, and to the subs and to the fans and whatever it is, you know, we're in this together. And let's just quit the stigma of being super macho and keeping our feelings, you know, wrapped inside. Let's open up. Let's suffer loud. Let's share our soul. Let's open up, man. Let's be there for each other. Let's encourage each other. Let's build each other up, man. This is going to be a year that we build each other up and we keep, you know, continuing our path to being the best version of ourselves. And that's what I try. That's my goal. My goal is to create the most amount of value and the most amount of impact in the most positive way I possibly can to each and every one of you. That is my goal. So thank you, Calum, man. I would love to get him on the channel. Let's just chat more about, you know, about just life and whatnot. But if you guys want to see me collab with Calum, you know, comment section below. Let's tag his name. Let's get his attention. I know he's got probably a lot of people talking about. Let's get this thing going here. Let's get more of us together talking about our mental health and being open, and then showing true strength in men. And I think that is a truly a strong man is one that is vulnerable and able to speak about his emotions, cry in front of you, you know, show his soul to you guys without any type of, you know, shame. And you guys, if you like the video, you know what it is, guys. Get in that comment section below. Get the description below. Discount codes, all the good stuff. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep encouraging each other to just keep rising up. And guys, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.